Good afternoon, I'm still reporting. Part 2 of my exclusive interview with Bill Binney is the most technical of these segments. I could have cut some of it out, but then it would not be in context and would not be as believable. The real nugget here is that in 2002, NSA embarked on the Fairview program. This is a completely illegal and unconstitutional program to capture and record the content of all domestic phone calls and internet traffic in the United States. That means that NSA officials have perjured themselves in public congressional committee testimony by saying that only metadata of phone calls has been captured. Even more shocking is that although Mr. Binney says that the recordings age off and disappear after 30 days, over 1 million domestic American telephone calls a day are transcribed automatically by machine transcription, and for the conversations that cannot be accurately transcribed automatically, NSA employs about 2,000 human transcribers. Since 2001, what has been going on exactly?
Initially, it started with billing records from AT&T and other telecoms, and then they were collecting on the order of, my estimate was about the records of about 3 billion phone calls internally in the U.S. That is, people, long distance and local phone calls. My estimate was about 3 billion a day. And that was just domestic communication. So that mapped out all the relationships of everybody that you talked to on the phone. And then in early 2002, probably even before that, NARIS devices came online in 2002. That's when they started buying them, the NARIS STA 6400, which is what they were using for the fiber optic lines, the internet lines going across the fibers. And those sessionized fiber optic communications at the rate of 622 megabits per second. That was a NARIS STA 6400. Then they upgraded it later on to the NARIS Insight device, which runs at 10 gigabits per second.
And this is way too technical.
Okay, well, 10 gigabits per second would mean that one NARIS device, that Insight device, could sessionize and present for storage over 100 million 1,000 characters, 100 billion 1,000 character emails a day. That's virtually the world of communications and email.
And what is the NARIS device? So
it's called a sessionizer. You know, in the internet world, and your communications get busted up into packets, and they send it out in packets.
Right.
This sessionizer, NARIS, will take all those packets and reassemble your email, and then say, here's the email you sent.
So this was 2002, then all emails came under scrutiny.
That's when it started, yeah. It took them time to deploy these sites around the U.S. under a program called Fairview.
I see. So Fairview started in 2002, and Fairview was aimed just at emails?
Well, no, it took everything on the fiber line. That meant chatter, file transfers, voice over IP, video, whatever's on the fiber line, chatter, all your internet activity, whatever you do on the internet.
Okay, well, now let's try to make this a little more succinct, and just get it in one bite. So in 2002, phone calls started, and we're talking about monitoring full voice recordings of all phone calls.
I'm not sure they do all of them. I thought perhaps they would actually transcribe or look at maybe 1 million of them a day. And the rest they would have available for a period of time that would age off as the new data came in. They might have enough to store maybe 30 days, say, or 3 weeks, and then a new week comes in, the old week ages off.
Right.
So they have that window of about 3 weeks to a month to look at it, data.
This is how it started.
Yeah.
But now that's not the case.
No, I think it's still pretty much the case. I mean, transcription of 3 billion phone calls a day, that's kind of a lot of transcribing to do. So even with machines, see, you can do machine translation, and that's pretty good if you're in a quiet environment. That is, the machine has a chance to adjust to the spoken language by a limited number of speakers. But if you have a noisy environment, it gets much more difficult to do automatic transcription of phone calls. So at that point, they'd have to revert to transcribers like they did with Adrian Kinney and David Murphy Falk at Fort Gordon, Georgia. They were transcribers, transcribing phone calls from U.S. persons in the green zone back to their families in the United States. And they were doing that without a warrant, full transcription.
So does Fort Meade here have just floors and floors of human transcriber people?
I wouldn't say floors and floors, maybe a couple thousand, yeah. That's not floors and floors. I mean, the floors are pretty big over there.
Okay. Why is this important? None of us are without sin. We all would be embarrassed if everything about our lives were laid bare. But what if every conversation by every member of Congress was transcribed and permanently stored? The few times even the best of them misstepped could be held over their heads and force them to vote in certain ways. This would be classic Chicago politics, blackmail, tyranny. For example, what if Lois Lerner didn't just accidentally find an email to Senator Chuck Grassley in her inbox? What if one single NSA employee, strategically placed with access to Fairview data, sent it to her? I understand how NSA got to this point. Capturing all emails and phone calls is a more efficient way to protect America. But maximizing efficiency doesn't necessarily maximize freedom and justice for all. The Fairview data is so powerful and so shrouded in secrecy that it is absolutely pregnant with possibilities for abuse. For justice to prevail, the legal system in America is supposed to be light-handed. In order to preserve personal freedom, we can't construct a system to catch everyone. We have to be satisfied to only catch a few. Law enforcement should concentrate on the worst offenders rather than trying to catch everyone. Over-enforcement is a one-way highway to tyranny. That's why programs like Fairview are not legal. That's why you see the Supreme Court handing down this unprecedented string of unanimous decisions against this sort of tyranny. The battle for freedom is ongoing in America, but the most important message is that we have not lost yet, and we still can win. Jump in there and push back now while you still can. I'm still reporting. Good day.